You don't have to give anyone mouth to mouth. They have now recommended that hands-only CPR, yes, it's just as,
Just chest compressions?
yes, just chest compressions at 100 to 120 beats per minute. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys that. The reason they did that is because it was really a barrier. A lot of people, especially with COVID, didn't want to give mouth to mouth. Really just in general, you know, you see someone you don't know, yeah, you want to help them, but do you want to put your mouth on them? Really? Yeah, so that's why they eliminated that. So after we check, if Andrew is unresponsive, which he is, the next thing you're going to do is call 911. A lot of people just immediately start compressions, but that's not helpful if EMS is not on the way. So the next thing you're going to do is call 911. If you're by yourself, call 911, put it on speakerphone. If someone else is around, tell them to call 911 for you so that way you can get to the compressions quick. Okay, any questions before I start bringing Andrew back to life? All right, so with hands-only CPR, you want to push hard and fast in the center of the chest. You want to use this part of your hand. So that way that's going to allow you to push down as hard as you need to, right? Now Andrew is probably going to be on the floor. I'm not going to get on the floor though. I'm going to try to do it from this table. So you want to get over him like this, and you want to push hard and fast.
Are you counting? Are you counting?
In my head, yeah.
Okay, okay.
So you want to keep doing that nonstop until EMS arrives. Now the other element of this that we add into it as well, if there's an AED available, if it's not, that's fine, continue doing the chest compressions. If an AED is available, we highly recommend sending someone to get an AED. If you're by yourself, it's fine to stop compressions after you've given someone. Go get the AED and bring it back and see if the person needs a shock. Now I know y'all are probably like, how do I know that? The good thing about AEDs is the AED now, they talk to you. They tell you if the person needs a shock or not.
Okay,
So
so
you-
what's AD?
So it's an automated external defibrillator.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to give Andrew a shot. I don't have it with me, but we had one. So you pull it out of the, it's normally in a box with a handle. You take it out of the box, and it comes with the little leaflets, whatever they're called. And it tells you where to put them, so you're not putting them in the wrong place. You put them where they're supposed to go, and you push the button, and it'll say to you, shock needed, if the person needs a shock. And I know this because I've seen it in the hospital before. Tells you whether they need a shock. You push the button to deliver the shock, and then it says shot, administered, or delivered, whatever it says, and then you continue the compressions from there. So it makes it very, very, very simple to save a life. The only thing you need is the training, which I just showed you guys, and the adrenaline rush that you're going to get with trying to help someone once you see them pass out. Yes, ma'am.
So you can get an AED to go in a place like this?
I'm sorry, say that again?
An AED can be placed here?
Yes. So a lot of places have AEDs on site. So if you have an AED on site, then yes, then go get it if someone is passed out from cardiac arrest and deliver the shot. But if one's not available, because a lot of places don't, have them on site, then the compressions are just enough. Because EMS is going to do that when they arrive, if you haven't already done so with an AED, especially if one wasn't available. Yes.
No, I'm confused with the old way you do it, but you never stop to check to see if they're breathing?
No, you don't have to do that. This is hands-only CPR, so just the compressions. Because, if you think about it, you're acting as this person's heartbeat. A lot of people say, I don't want to push down too hard, I don't want to break any ribs. A lot of times, if you're doing it hard enough, you will break some ribs, a lot of times, because that's how hard you need to be pressing down in the center of their chest.
Okay. She just asked you, do you stop and check to see if they come around? No. And the question is, what if they have started breathing as you're doing that?
So what you will know if someone is, back, responsive, because CPR is not pleasant on someone that's responsive. So if they have come back to, you successfully brought them back, then you'll know.
But I said,
Yes,
you
that's-
stop, right?
No, you don't stop. They'll stop you once they, come to.
No, I was saying, if they came around while you're doing it.
Yeah, then you stop, yes.
No, but I'm just saying-
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
But that's
showing any signs of life, if they just jump up and be like, oh, I'm okay, then yeah, stop.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry, I misunderstood y'all.
Babies, how do you do,
Mhm.
what do you do with babies?
So
Or
we
you
actually,
small children?
yes, so hands-on CPR, the way that I just did it is for teens and adults. So I guess teens would be 13 and older, probably, depending on, because some 12, 11-year-olds are, yeah, depending on the size. But toddlers and infants, so it's the same concept. The only thing is you use 2 fingers in the center of the chest. And I normally have the dummy with me, I don't have it with me today. But we also have the CPR little hand drill. And that's how you would do it on a baby. In the same spot, center of the chest, but you push down like this with 2 fingers. So you're not going to use your hand at all because that's going to be too much pressure for a child, and push down that way with your fingers. Hopefully you don't have to, but if you do, it's 2 fingers for toddlers and infants. Any questions? Yes.
Because I got to sit down.
Yes. Right, anything else? I have some more in my car, so we have to thank you so much. I got some more in my car, so I'm going to get the rest out of my car.
Okay, so let's give Brianna another round of applause. Her explanation was, I mean, everybody had something to say. So we're moving right along. So much for schedules, but anyway. But I hope everybody's enjoying this. I hope you're getting a lot of information. If it doesn't apply to you, then you know a loved one, a friend, you know what to do. Maybe they'll feel a little safer with you in their room, in their space, and that kind of thing. But now we're gonna I'm gonna pull her up. I'm sorry, I'm not pulling her up. Our next person, last but not least, is Layla Ashanti, and she's gonna talk about stopping the bleed. So it kind of goes in with doing CPR, first aid kind of thing. But she's gonna tell you all about it. And then she's gonna tell you about a movement she started. And she told me stop talking.
I am Layla Ashanti. I was trained by my job at Workforce Centera Healthcare System. The emergency management team deemed certain things that all employees and communities need to save lives, and one of them would be stop the bleed. So this focused on, in addition to, it's not always gunshot wounds, but although that is a major thing, unfortunately, in this country, it could be an accident, it could be a DIY, I'm a DIYer, it could be a DIY project, it could be someone dealing with fireworks or something like that. So this started right after Sandy Hook. So I'll get the name right, the Academy of Trauma Surgeons, in partnership with Combat Trauma National Registry for EMTs, deemed certain ways to save lives and stopping the bleed, stopping one from bleeding to death after they've already been wounded would be the most essential way. And then my bad. And then community would be, because the EMS are not always there, so community would be helpful in stopping the bleed, okay? Questions so far? I do have some handouts for you guys. And also I want, if possible, I have something for you to hang up because everyone doesn't know. Now this can be applied here, at home, at work. This can be everywhere. This could be in the grocery store because we know mass casualties are a thing, not necessarily shooting mass casualties, although I'm going to give you some numbers. 2022, there were 647 mass shootings in this country, okay? This year, there have been 80 mass shootings, and there have been 20 in Norfolk alone, okay? This year alone. This year, here we are only, yes. We're only in February, but also keep in mind, stop the bleed is not just gunshot wounds. This could be a car accident. This could be you doing a home project. This could be kids playing, and we know, the potential dangers that come with that one. So, essentially, and I have a tourniquet here, I'll demonstrate here. You can just pass this around too. So, essentially, we use cat tourniquets to stop the bleed, and I have a little paper here. So, if there is a let's say I was playing with fireworks. I was playing with fireworks and my arm or my hand was blown. Daddy, you want to come up here? So he's going to be my demonstrator. I'm going to demonstrate on him. So essentially, I'm going to instruct him on what to do to save my life, okay? So essentially, we are taught from the neck to our groin, you cannot apply a tourniquet because these are junctions. So if there's something, a wound in my arm, you would pack it and get me to an emergency center like everyone has said. Now if my leg, if there's something going on with my leg, like maybe I dropped a firework on my leg or something, you would apply your tourniquet above the junctions, above your elbows, and then you would tighten it and then of course get me to an emergency trauma unit, okay? Any questions so far? I'll demonstrate on him. So, let's say your arm. Let's say something was going on, like there was blood right here, okay? So you want to apply your tourniquet further up, closest to your heart, okay? And you tighten it. And it will be uncomfortable, but make sure it's not over any junctions, it's not over any elbows, okay? Because that doesn't make sense if you are, and also because the clothes are so kind of thick. Move your elbow. Okay, you see how that's not really staying? If it's over the junctions, it's not going to stay. Like if the wound is here, even if the wound is right above his elbow, put it up closest to your heart and tighten it up as much as you can, okay? And this might hurt, my apologies. So tighten it, okay? So essentially we want to make sure that we are stopping the bleed and getting this person to an emergency medical trauma unit. So there is, and I bought these from Amazon, so there is a little kit that you can buy from stopthebleed.org. So we know in this country there are unfortunate enemies against black people just in general. We could be at the grocery store, we could be minding our own business. We've seen in New Zealand the mosque shooting. Do you guys have a first aid kit here? Is there anything here? Okay, so that's the homework. I would like for that to be hanging up on the wall. Because it is essential in our community. We are lacking, we are at a deficit on so many things, and I would like for us to be proactive versus reactive on even the health, even the heart health, even the nutrition. Let's be proactive versus reacting to things. We know what to do. We lose the need to panic when we're prepared. Okay? So you're prepared with the tourniquet, you're prepared with knowing how to pack a wound. So these are junctions, and the same for a leg. You can see. So I'm going to do it for the leg as well. So there is a timer up here that you put 2 hours in there. We are told that after 2 hours, that means your body will go into shock, okay? But going into shock does not equate to you bleeding to death. If I apply this tourniquet correctly, he will not bleed to death, or your person will not bleed to death. So I'll show you on the leg, and it will be enough on the leg. So let's say the issue was his foot and there was blood pooling or splurting or anything, okay? So his knee is right here. I'm not going to put it over his knee. Bend your leg. So you see how that's not going to be helpful? If I tighten it up, put it here, and then tighten this little wind peel, tighten it as much as I can. You feel it? As much as I can. And then put the time. 2 hours from the time that I put, he should be in emergency in a trauma center, okay? So this is essential for so many things, not just gunshot wounds, not just not just car accidents. This could be you falling off your roof and now something bad is happening to you. So those were limbs. limbs. We wouldn't pack the box from our neck to our groin. That means, or we wouldn't tourniquet, of course, our neck. We would pack it with, let's say this is a hole, you would pack it with gauze, or if you're in your car and you don't have this, anything like old socks, an old towel, pack it, and get to a trauma center, of course. Any questions?
Yes, so you recommend everyone have one?
Everyone. I have one in my car and I have one in my house. This is a CAT tourniquet, CAT, combat application tourniquet. Yes.
How much is it?
A tube for not, it wasn't expensive. It was not, I'll send you the link. It was not expensive at all. Yes.
Suppose I don't have a tourniquet, what, old school would say tear rag and it serves.
If it can, yes. So the goal is to stop the pool bleeding. And you would see, and also if he were screaming, we still would not stop. So if, like, let's say I did not have a tourniquet, but I had a belt, like I had shoestrings for maybe a smaller child, then you would do that. Tie it, of course, go above the 2 to 4 inches above the wound, closest to the heart if possible, tighten it and get them to an emergency trauma unit. And that's just for limbs. Now, if it were the box, you would pack it, and there's nothing you can do besides get that person, make sure they are, the emergency management team, like she said, has been called, and get them to an emergency trauma unit. Yes.
You just answered my question.
Okay, anything? Yes.
So something like,
That should help, but if it's able to be tied, because this is very, like, you can, y'all, I guess you can pass, I have another, you can pass it around. If it's able to be, yes. If your scarf is able to be tied and blocked so nothing can get through, because we do not want a pulse in the area, because if it is a pulse, it's still blood. Anything else? So essentially, some of the questions, some of the issues that we encounter was, well, what if the patient, the person is screaming? And it's typically not a patient because it will be somewhere. We know we can't go. We are target, so we have issues at the grocery store, we have issues while we're jogging, we have issues at the movie theater, we have issues in our house of prayers. So anywhere where we won't be patient, this could be your colleague, share this information. This could be your coworker, this could be your friend, this could be your family member. So essentially, if they are screaming, take it off, it hurts. It will hurt, but they could possibly bleed to death. Do not take it off. Let the trauma people take it off when you get to an emergency center. And don't take it off to see if it's still bleeding, because it probably is still bleeding, okay? Any questions? And interrupt me at any time. So I recently, like you said, I recently was reading about the belts. Sometimes they are not necessarily the best because they are so hard. Like the genuine leather belts are not necessarily the best because they are made to be durable and sturdy and not necessarily able to wrap around your limbs. But get a tourniquet. Go on eBay. I got 2 of these, I believe, for like $12. Get a tourniquet. StopTheBleed.org. Get a Stop the Bleed kit in here. Get your first aid kit in here. Do you guys have a first aid kit in your home? Show of hands that you do. Okay. And what's in your first aid kit? Alcohol. Okay. Right. So get a tourniquet. But how old is the alcohol? Like when was you last? Like it expires. Have you checked it? How old is it? Check it because
Mine's not expired.
Because if you have it and it expired, what good is it? What good? It is not useful to have expired things. So we want to be proactive versus reacting. And I have no idea. Yes, ma'am.
they have different types of kits, ones that are more basic, like Band-Aids and gauze and antibiotic creams. But I mean, like, how big do we need to get? Like,
So I would say, because I was trained by the emergency management people at Centera Healthcare, they're on a bigger level. But if this is at your house, I wouldn't say just Band-Aids. I wouldn't say Band-Aids at all. I would get your gauze, get your packing units, get your tourniquet for sure. And I can send some links I'll send it to you and then you just send it out to everything that I have in my home.